no matter how far back you go in the human civilization, it always makes sense. There is not a single thing human beings have done that is a total mystery to you. Why? Because you were there. It's not your body that is the most important thing. It's just form. It changes. And even that has not changed much. Because you are obsessed with holding on to changes, you see your form, your face, your body as something entirely unique. But in a dream world of shadows and lights, if you were to move a little far away and look at yourself from a distance, there's hardly anything separating you from another individual. It is only because you get very close and try to investigate the nature of your uniqueness, you find your features to be unique. From far away, you can hardly separate one human being from another. We are all more similar than different. So you go back in time, the human beings of the past are not very different from you. In fact, they are not different at all. You can easily slip into their shoes and look at life the way they looked at it. And that is how you understand things. That is how you know what is it to be like a caveman. That is how you know what is it to be in the middle of war. And that is how you intuitively understand what is good for you, what is bad for you. You cannot learn all these things in one life. There's got to be a deeper memory to you that already knows something. In this life, you are only being reminded of things. That is what is called intuition. Why do machines that we have created, why don't they have intuition? They just don't have intuition. Because they don't have a deeper life, deeper memory that extends beyond what memory we have given it for the purpose we have created it. But a human being is deep down a blank canvas. You throw something there, when it comes out, when it rebounds, it acquires its own colors, its own understanding. And more often than not, we don't even know where this understanding is coming from. If you were to remove this connectivity to the past, continuity to the past, you will see one lifetime is not enough to know all the things you know. In fact, you don't even know how much you know. You have not been put in situations where you are actually pushed to bring out deeper memories of your being. More often than not, you're acting on the surface level, following just simple patterns. But when it is really required for you to dig deeper, you can dig very deep. You can go very deep. Now, how is this possible? It's because at the center of your being, there is something that is outside of time, that is not bound to the mind, that is not bound to the body. Now, if it is not bound to time, then it must have always been there. If it has always been there, then when you look at other things, when you look at animals, when you look at other human beings, basically you are role playing within your own mind. Subjectively, they don't even exist. In a way, subjectively, the entire past is your past. The past exists as a memory to teach you something. Again, it is only because you are a human being and other human beings have recorded the past, have remembered the past, you can have access to it. For animals, they don't have access to this past. That is why when they wake up in a new life, they have no conception of previous lives. Even a human being has no conception of previous life, but we have absolute substantial proof of the existence of previous life because our memories are stored. It is only because you are so obsessed with your form, you are unable to see all those individuals, all those experiences as your experiences. What if they're all your experiences? What if every story you hear is actually your story? These are all stories of how you failed, how you misunderstood life, how you realize the nature of your reality. The story of Buddha is your story. The story of Hitler is your story. But not in form, but in essence. There is an underlying structure to life which is same. There, we are all going through the same struggle. How do I understand life? How do I wake up from this slumber of life? We call this quest, we call this search by different names. Search for power, search for wealth, search for name and fame. But in reality, it is a search for that one key that unlocks the door of life. In this life, you're again doing the same thing. Now, let's say 100 years from now, you are there somewhere reading a book. Now, you're reading something about you, but you don't even know it because the name is different. The pictures are different. So you're watching these pictures as if it is someone else. It has nothing to do with me. You can say that only because you have altogether forgotten your past. Otherwise, if you were to be reminded somehow that you are actually this person, you will freak out. I don't want to come back. I don't want to read my own stories again and again and again. I want to wake up. Give me the key. How many eons, how many centuries I've been doing the same thing in so many different forms, because at the center, I am life, I am consciousness, I am aliveness. Every time I stumble and fall into a dream, a new life form is created. Now, why is human life regarded as the pinnacle? It is pinnacle, no matter which way you look at it. We are not like animals at all. There is something that separates us completely from animals. Our memory, our connection to the past, our ability to ask questions, look into the structure of our dreams, inquire into the nature of the prism or prison we are stuck in, how to get out of it. This is totally unique to human beings. Now, how special is this human birth? There is a Buddhist parable which beautifully explains it. There's a turtle, a blind turtle in the ocean. Once every 100 years, it comes to the surface. And there is a golden yolk swimming on the surface of the ocean. By chance, luckily, at that very moment when this turtle is raising its head above the water, the yolk fits perfectly there. And that yolk is its release, it's its liberation. If it can fix itself to that yolk, then somebody can pull it out. Human birth is that chance where the turtle has surfaced after 100 years of blindly swimming in the ocean of life, and it has suddenly caught something with the help of which it can escape this ocean of blindness. It can liberate itself. That is how special human life is. Of course, this is just a way of saying it. It's just to emphasize the fact that you are closer to truth now than ever before. It's only because you have forgotten how pathetically ignorant you were in your previous lives, you are unable to see how special your understanding of life is now. How much you have already traveled. If you're worried about how far you have to move in order to realize the truth, all that worry disappears in a moment if you can only see how much you have already traveled. You have already traveled 1,000,000 miles. Just a few yards. The very fact that you have a human body, a human mind, the very fact that you can listen to someone's words and interpret their meaning, the very fact that you can be told to sit quiet, close your eyes, and you can actually do it, puts you in a completely different category from all other creatures of existence. Imagine trying to awaken any other animal. Where would you start? You have to spend lifetimes after lifetimes. You have to teach it language. You have to teach it the meaning of past. You have to teach it the meaning of life. And you have to teach it in its language. It won't understand your language. All that has already happened in you. And when you look at the world of animals, when you look at the world of other human beings, you're basically looking at different shades of your own life, different ways of forgetfulness. Of course, this is nonsensical if you look at it as an individual. As an individual, there's no connection. As an individual, Hitler was a completely different individual. Buddha was a totally different individual. Genghis Khan was a completely different individual. But the life that was unrealized, the life that was shielded, covered, around which everything happened, was the same life, was the same aliveness, same consciousness, the same thing that is pulsating within you. Truth is one, life is one, forms are different. You cannot trace the chain of memory through your body, but you can trace it through your being. If you look at it as form, yes, there's no connection between past life and this life. The whole idea of reincarnation sounds nonsensical. This is why science has a horrendous time understanding reincarnation. It sounds so ludicrous that it doesn't even go anywhere near there, because it is looking at it from objective point of view. Like, how can reincarnation exist? It does not fit into any mathematical laws. It does not fit into any physical laws. What kind of physics is working when reincarnation is happening? Because the world is objective. Earth is objective. Creatures of existence are objective. They are taking birth through some force. They're going about their lives and they are dying. Where is this continuity? You will never understand this continuity unless you know that there is something at the center of each and every creature which is connected. Life is not divided. The way you experience your aliveness is exactly the same way everything else is experiencing its aliveness, including so-called dead, inanimate things. There is nothing inanimate in the universe. There's nothing dead in the universe. Aliveness itself is the fabric on which everything else is built. It is because you are stuck to form, you're stuck to physicality. That is why we call it physics, because it is study of physicality. It is not the study of the spirit. To expect a physicist to understand this continuity of life is the problem, because his whole life he has studied only the physical nature of things. But someone who has tried to connect with the spirit, someone who has tried to connect with the essence of life, can see this continuity. Buddha could see it. That is why he said, there is no end to samsara. There is no end to the cycle of birth and death unless you consciously make a choice to wake up.